All right, in this practice question, we're to let f be a function that is defined for all real numbers t and has the following properties. We know that the second derivative of t is 24t minus 18. The first derivative evaluated at 1 is negative 6. And the function evaluated at 2 is equal to 0. And we're asked to find the average value of f on the interval 1 to 3. All right, so let's pause this, take maybe 10 minutes, and see if you can answer this question. All right, so hopefully you've had a chance to try this one out. As always, I'm just going to make a few notes on this first page about what we're given. So we have our function f of t, we have the second derivative, we have some boundary conditions for the first derivative, so that's going to actually help us figure out what c is when we take the antiderivative. And again, with part 3 here, we have some more boundary conditions. Ultimately, though, we want to find the average value of f. So to find the average value, the first thing I'm going to do is have to work my way backwards to figure out what f is. Then I can use my average value. So I'm also going to just remind us that my average value of a function, 1 over b minus a, times the integral from a to b of my function. This is f of t dt. So this is what I ultimately want to solve in this particular question. Okay, so let's start out. We have the second derivative. If I take the integral of both sides, I can start to find what the first derivative would be. So the antiderivative of the second derivative is going to be f prime t. And on the right hand side, remember, I'm going to add 1 and divide by that new exponent. So that is going to give me 12t squared. I'm going to add 1. Right now this is t to the 0, so I'm going to add 1, and that will give me negative 18t plus c. This is an indefinite integral, so I have plus c. Now I'm going to go and use the boundary condition. I know that f of 1 is equal to 12 1 squared minus 18 times 1 plus c, and that whole thing is equal to negative 6. So f prime of 1 is equal to negative 6. This is f prime of 1. So now let's go ahead and see if we can solve this. Well, 1 squared is still 1, so that is 12 minus 18 plus c is equal to negative 6. And well, this whole thing here is just negative 6, so negative 6 plus c is equal to negative 6. c is 0. Right? So that's going to tell me that f prime, let's see if I can scroll this up a little bit. So f prime t is 12t squared minus 18t. c is 0, so I'm not writing it. All right, let's keep going, because I need to find f before I can find the average. All right, so I know, I'm just going to recopy this now. I know that f prime of t is 12t squared minus 18t. Well, if I take the antiderivative of both sides, I can get to f. All right, so let's do that. So the antiderivative of f prime is f of t, and I'm going to add 1 and divide by my new exponent, so that gives me 4t cubed. I'm going to add 1, divide by the new exponent, so negative 9t squared plus c. Now I go back again and take a look at the boundary condition I have. F of 2 would be 4(2) cubed minus 9(2) squared plus c, and that whole thing has to equal 0. So let's use this and figure out c. So this is 8, and 4 times 8 is 32, minus, here's 4, that is 36, plus c is 0, so we can see c has to be 4. So now I know f. F of t is 4t cubed minus 9t squared plus 4. The c is 4. So there's f of t. Now that I have the function, I can find the average. So I'm going to just copy this over. That is not right. All right, so f of t is 4t cubed minus 9t squared plus 4. I want the average over the interval 1 to 3. So 1b minus a to b, of 4t cubed minus 9t squared plus 4. Now at this point here, and we should have proper notation, dt. At this point here, for this year, if something like this shows up, you're going to go to your calculator, and you can punch all of this right-hand side into your calculator and find the integral. Please don't forget to do this part here. Now, we could do this with the functions that they have here. We actually could do this without the calculator. So let's try it that way. So I'm going to get 1/2. Now I'm going to do all of this. I need the integral because we know we're going to take top minus bottom. So the integral here, we're going to add 1, divide by the new exponent. That is going to be t to the 4. Minus, I'm going to add 1, divide by my new exponent, 3t cubed, plus 4t. We're going to evaluate that from 1 to 3. So that is 1/2. And something nice happens here when I put this in. I'm going to get 3 to the 4 minus 3 times 3 cubed. Well, that is just going to cancel each other out. And then I get plus 4 times 3. Now that whole part there is the top. I'm going to subtract the bottom. So all of this with 1. So that is 1 to the 4, that's just 1, minus 3 times 1 cubed, well that's 3, plus 4. So I know I abbreviated a little bit there to squeeze it all in. Okay, so I have 1/2. Everything here is 12 minus, that's a minus sign, that was probably not good there, minus all of this part here. So I have 1 minus 3 plus 4, that is minus 2. So this is 10, half of 10, 5. So ultimately our average value over the interval 1 to 3 is 5. All right, so that's just a little review using those boundary conditions. Again, I'm not sure how the 2020 is going to look like because you're going to have your calculator. They can just have some more, another kind of difficult type of equation that we have here. So it's not just going to be a polynomial. All right, give that one a try. I'll keep trying to bring up some more. Every day I'll give you 2 or 3 new ones. Okay, bye.